Welcome everybody. My name's Scott Hebbard from Sparx Systems, and I'm pleased to be joined by Simon Somser today that's going to present a platform for adaptive co-development of civil society responses to polycrisis. To have you here today, Simon. Simon is the founder of Civil Nexus, and I'm really interested to hear about this topic and looking forward to it. So welcome, Simon.
Thanks, Scott. I guess we live in times of volatility, uncertainty, novelty, complexity, and ambiguity. Our social, technological, and ecological systems bring unwanted changes that are hard to understand and control. Our purpose at Civil Nexus is to provide communities with tools to better understand the uncertainty and systematically regain some voice and choice in what's happening in their world. To do that, we're building a platform for adaptive co-development of civil society responses to polycrisis. The phrase needs unpacking. First, what's a platform? We all know online platforms for sharing and collaboration. Platforms like Wikipedia, WordPress, Substack, Miro, Jira, Git have each become a normalized common good. Successful platforms share four transformative traits. They're on demand. You get what you need when you need it. They're low friction, no permissions or middlemen. Configured decoupling and backup infrastructure contain the blast radius of accidents. They're totally acceptable. They're broadly accessible. Affordable devices connect anyone, anywhere. They pool resources and scale fast. Elasticity supports large, volatile groups of collaborators. Now, adaptive co-development. Adaptive governance and adaptive management recognise legitimate non-owner stakeholders in transboundary common pool resources. Changes to these resources cross geographic, ecological, social, and technical boundaries. Civil society must co-develop the future of common resources with governments and property owners. This builds a legitimate social licence for change. Despite differences in power, wealth, education, and status, civil society commoners can act as peer change agents. They bring Indigenous and local knowledge, on-the-ground capability, ingenuity, pragmatism, sustainability perspectives, and practical stewardship. Elinor Ostrom won a Nobel Prize proving civil society groups could often manage contested resources more sustainably than governments do with laws and regulations. Civil society groups also often manage contested resources more sustainably than corporations do with finance and markets. Finally, polycrisis. A crisis is a sudden, non-linear event or series of events that harms, in a short time, the well-being of many people. Polycrisis can be defined as crisis in multiple global systems becoming entangled, degrading humanity's prospects. Together, these crises produce harms greater than the sum of each alone, because their host systems are deeply interconnected. What's the context for polycrisis? Polycrises are interlinked. They form feedback loops. They hit tipping points with runaway rates of change. Complex, chaotic behaviours in these systems disrupt plans, forecasts, investments, and dynamics. Our branching futures are unstable. They are deeply uncertain. Rigorous quantitative scenarios built on fixed assumptions often fail. They describe only the most probable branchings. Faulty initial conditions or assumptions or unlikely branchings render the painstaking and rigorous work immediately useless. They are not efficient, timely, or reliable in the face of uncertainty and ambiguity. Agile, systematically consistent qualitative models can help us make sense of climate, biodiversity, food security, water security, energy, communications, transport, education, skills, supply chains, housing, health, and conflict. Daily news broadcasts show multiple waves of crisis already crashing with speed and fury over billions of people in all regions of the world. Climate change drives cyclones, storms, floods, droughts, heat waves, and wildfires. Crop failures, poverty, hunger, homelessness, displacement, and violence follow close behind. Population growth, inequality, and discrimination destabilises human systems for water, food, shelter, sanitation, medicines, health, welfare, and emergency services. Novel disruptors like invasive species, animals, plants, fungi, bacteria, viruses, and persistent toxic pollution threaten the stability of our ecosystems and our societies. Without a circular economy, human-made materials accumulate as persistent pollution. The mass of the technosphere now exceeds the mass of all living things. Livestock make up more than 60% of mammal biomass. They consume 35% of global food production and 80% of arable land. These numbers grow, leaving little room for wilderness. Mining, overfishing, livestock and land clearing destroy biogeological systems. These systems provide clean air, clean water, fertile soil, and the photosynthetic energy web that powers life on Earth. Biogeoecological systems surround us. They permeate our society and economy. Modern and traditional civilizations cannot endure without them. There are no safe zones. What are the challenges? After years of global research, experimentation, measurement, consultation, and assessment, the UN Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform for Biodiversity and Ecosystems, or IPBES, published their Nexus Assessment in 2025. The assessment provides evidence-based data, traceable scenario guidance on impacts, 75 tested and feasible recommendations for polycrisis, mitigation, and adaptation. Global financial crisis, Fukushima, forever wars, refugee camps, COVID, stagflation, wild climate, and dying seas. The polycrises are well known. Coordinated action by the usual suspects on UN and Davos conferences has been difficult. Government agencies and corporations operate with opaque, conflicted incentives, competitive self-interest, misaligned motivations, and differing priorities. It becomes an endless turf fight. Dividing geography into bordered regions for de facto ownership and control by the rich and powerful isn't working. So what about the rest of us? Some solutions. Extensive research across multiple lines of evidence suggests that effective action requires adaptive, transparent, polycentric, and genuinely collaborative governance of ungoverned and transboundary common pool resources, or CPRs, across civil society. What are ungoverned and transboundary common pool resources? They are resources with contended overlapping governance or governance gaps. The category includes drainage basins, threatened ecosystems and species, invasive species, marine and terrestrial protected areas, biomes and bioregions, atmospheric resources, fisheries, forests, savannas, tundras, geophysical and geochemical resources, disaster zones, pollutants and polluted areas, and industrial sacrifice zones. CPRs come in all shapes and sizes, are sometimes biogeophysical and sometimes technological or cultural. The channels and carriers of interactions between the CPRs are complex. The speed and fury of change confronting our civilizations demands agile, iterative, and incremental solutions to urgently address oncoming crisis cascades. UN Health, Agriculture, and Environment organisations estimate that there's a $4 to $6 trillion annual shortfall in investments in polycrisis mitigation. Governments, businesses, and markets are set up to measure and value only economics. They won't divert from sweating the assets from sunk investments. The consensus of empirical research is that green bonds, blue bonds, carbon offsets, impact investing, B corporations, environmental and social governance initiatives, poorly protected areas, and unenforced environment laws are profitable for some, but proportionately low impact on polycrisis mitigation and adaptation. The third sector, civil society, is best placed to bridge the $4 to $6 trillion annual shortfall by providing the planning, coordination, effort, and time of concerned stakeholders. For the foreseeable future, this non-market sector will continue to generate significant uncounted public good value. What is our approach? The mission of Civil Nexus is to provide an operating model, infrastructure and platform for agile adaptive governance, operational planning, initiative delivery, day-to-day operations, and continuous feedback and review. To avoid painstaking, expensive and unreliable integration, the platform must deliver a complete end-to-end feature set. We use open modelling and systems engineering frameworks, TOGAF, Archimate, UML, SystemL, together with Sparx EA, portfolio of free and open source software applications and affordable consumer technologies. This combination makes the platform accessible to stakeholders large and small. Sparx EA tooling is central. Its affordability, accessibility and canonicality anchor the platform. Interchange TOGAF repositories give stakeholders flexibility to collaborate through hybrid online and offline mechanisms. Sparx Pro Cloud server and database for distributed large-scale collaborations over the internet. Sparx Pro Cloud server and database for small workgroups on private networks. Encrypted security-enabled Sparx EA open database files shared via USB or cloud file shares for smaller groups. Sparx EA Reader for broad public read-only access to models. XMI model interchange connects the shared knowledge base with operating model components. Suitable UUIDs ensure traceability across multiple autonomous teams and models. What's in the Civil Nexus platform for me? Why should I participate? You can be part of reclaiming agency and delivery systems for assuring a livable planet for you and yours. Physical, water, food and livelihood security, a decent society that executes evidence-based decisions with genuine social license, meaningful work in collaborating organisations, valuable public good goals and impacts. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Simon. That was great. Can I just ask a couple of quick questions? What were some of the major factors that allowed you or helped you choose Sparx Systems and Sparx Systems products like Enterprise Architect and the Pro Cloud Server to help tackle some of this work?
I guess I've had a long history with architectural modelling, and Sparx EA was a tool that I came across some time ago, maybe 20 years ago. And it's been at the head of the field, it leads the field, and it has a different approach. When the other tool makers broke up their products into suites and started charging you more and more for functionality, it was clear that the end-to-end value proposition of Sparx EA, adding features for agility, for different modeling languages and techniques, and just keeping up with the state of the art in a single product that you could run on a desktop, it was compelling, a compelling advantage that really I don't think it has a peer in the market at the moment.
Thanks, Simon. And so are you confident that the processes and this civil approach can help you tackle some of these challenges moving forward?
Yeah, obviously a whole bunch of the ideas of qualitative modelling, even amongst the scientific community, are not widespread. There is a movement called scenario planning or strategic reframing that tries to encourage people to move away from the kind of pseudo-scientific quantitative modelling that we've seen, where it's pretty clear fairly quickly that precise quantitative models break down under uncertainty. So there's an education piece there. Lots of organisations aren't familiar with modelling, aren't doing modelling. It's not a part of their way of working. And likewise, the ideas of operating models and enterprise architecture and those things, they're new to people. So it is tough to get people on board, but I think that you can demonstrate the compelling advantages, and it just works in small group dynamics, at least. It kind of makes the co-development create the artifacts that are the enduring legacy of collaboration and actually make the process work. So it saves a lot of rework, and it's got a lot going for it. And yeah, we'll see if it makes a difference. At the moment, we're looking at Australia,
Yes.
but because that's enough complexity for anyone to handle. We're not even trying to model anything outside the boundaries of Australia.
Yes.
But other people might pick that up and produce their own models for other geographies.
From my perspective, I often see enterprise architects using models to help enterprises understand how systems work. So it's really quite interesting to see it go beyond the enterprise and use models to actually help solve problems that impact society. So it's really quite a valuable approach, and I think it's really great having models so that you can see how things interact and come up with great ideas. So yeah, I think it's fantastic to see such a different discipline and seeing Enterprise Architect and Sparx Systems tools being used in this environment. So thanks for your presentation, Simon. It's been fantastic.
Thanks for your kind words, Scott, and good luck to you too. Thanks.
Thank you.